Okay. I didn't make any noise. I'm sorry, Liz. It's been
It's
filming.
okay.
It's been like filming for 10 minutes, but I'm probably gonna. Oh, my
It's been
t-shirt's
filming for 10 minutes.
No.
What?
I exaggerate.
I wasn't focused that long.
Hi, everybody.
Good morning.
Welcome to the Sun Dragon Sideshow.
The Adventures of Liz and Rebecca. Today we're kind of Becky and Lizzy.
Modified Dear Becky and Lizzy.
We're on a mission today.
I might be making up a question that I've already posted on Facebook about, so we can talk about it. I threw this on. This is a creation I've made out of Yana XL, which is a big yarn, because I want to talk about big yarns today and things you can do with big yarns. So, hi, I'm Rebecca. I'm the owner of Sun Dragon Art and Fiber in super, super, super rainy and kind of
10 degrees warmer than yesterday.
That's why I was like maybe chilly downtown. Can you tell the lighting is different because it's nasty outside? So we're dealing with
wind and rain and
we only have the natural light of the shop, so we look a little dim and dark because it's nasty outside. And who are you?
I'm Liz. I'm the minion there. It's hot, isn't it?
I have
You're super bulky.
I have a sweater that has a lovely high collar and will keep you warm in the dead of winter. And then I have really thick yarn on top of that.
Today, the last warm day.
And I have layers on.
You have layers on.
All right. So, yeah.
So I'm going to pose the question because we keep getting...
Oh, I'm throwing a rhythm off.
You are.
I want to talk about my sweater for like 2 minutes.
Talk
and
about
then
your sweater for
maybe
like
5. And then Liz is going to throw me a softball. See if I can prop that up a little. Ooh, could cover the Purell bottle with it. Okay. In case, because some people will go, oh, wow, look at your sweater, which is this ancient sweater I made with really cheap yarn from like Joann's, I want to say. It's probably like...
It looks like Patton's Fisherman's Wool or something.
It's probably Lion Brand Woolies or something, one of those, you know, like something. I don't think it was Patton. It does.
Or the Fisher...
Funny you mentioned Patton's.
It's not Patton's Fisherman, it's Lion's Brand.
It's Lion's Brand. Fisherman. It's not the Fisherman's Wool. That actually looks nicer than this. But I think it's a Lion Brand equivalent to our Encore type of thing. It might have actually been wool, but I don't think so. I think it's a machine washable. And it is a work of art. I remember working on this, I think I've said before, seeing all the fuzzies on it. When my niece was in the NICU, and she's 12 now, so it's old, but it stood the test of time. And it came from this lovely little Patton's book called Cables. So, you know, when you walk down the Joann's aisles, you can like get little books and little tear off sheets and stuff. I've made so many things from this book, I can't even tell you. And it's an ancient book. I think I even ordered new copies of it because I lost old copies of it long before I opened the shop. Now that the shop is open, no. But I'll show you. And some of these came out better than others. And I would say, like, I've made this cabled vest. This is the one that I made, and it was too big, so I ripped it out and did it again because the yarn was too nice. And that's a yarn that's maybe on Encore level in the shop too. So, but that's from way back when. And then, oh, this is even a better picture of it, but see it in white, it's really hard to see. I made it in a very nice heathered, like mulberry color. It was very nice. But then I lost weight, so I gave it to a friend. So, hang on, I'm getting there. Wait for it. Not that one. Aha! Cabled yoke pullover. Look at it on the skinny mini. Yes, it comes down much further on her than on me because I have big girls and a middle. But, you know, when I made it, I was a different shape, but it still fits, so I still wear it. There's another picture of it. Everything in this book is in white, which, you know, this is oatmeal. Off-white, ecru, not even ecru.
It's oatmeal.
Yeah, so it's nice though. It's I never wore it. It's really neat because you make the cabled yoke this way. You make a big round strip, sew it together, and then you pick up stitches across the top and go up, and you pick up stitches across the bottom and go down, like down for the sleeves and down. So there's not a whole lot of intricate shaping to it. Like the sleeves literally just come straight off of it, and the torso comes straight off of it, and then the ribbing at the bottom has more cables. I love my cables. So I think this is on Ravelry. If I can find it, I'll post a link on Ravelry, but it's a cute little book. I'm sure somewhere you can still find the book. So that's my aside, because also shout out to Carol on yesterday's episode. She's like, I like the sweater that Liz is wearing. And I went, oh yeah, I forgot to mention in the description the sweater Liz is wearing.
Dead
yesterday.
easy.
Dead easy. I put that on her comment, so it's in there somewhere
With
if you dig.
Ridiculous amounts of positive ease, crocheted edging that I did, and
This is not an example of positive ease.
added more positive ease at the bottom. Like I made sure it was chock full of positive
It's
ease.
very comfy, what she was wearing yesterday. And if anything, my sweater that I'm wearing today has negative ease in that it is a little clingy to me. It is, you know, I can see my belt right there, but because when I made it, it probably had a little positive ease, but no more. So, all right, end that subject. Moving on. Dear Becky and Lizzy topic that sounds like you are ready to introduce.
Yeah, so every year about this time,
But it's been really bad this year.
but yeah, it's been even more so
It's been
this year.
incessant this year.
People call, and they're looking for two kinds of yarn. Either roving for those.
Well,
They want to make the blankets.
they want to make a big, huge, the chunky blanket.
chunky blankets.
And when they, here's my first pet peeve about that. There's miscommunication
yes,
because they say chunky and we think of, I didn't even get the yarn out. We think of yarn.
ultra wool chunky. That's like a little bit bigger than worsted.
Most of the people calling are not calling from within the yarn world, and that's fine. We'd love to introduce them to the yarn world. We'd love to get them into yarn stuff. But see, in the yarn council, whatever, this is chunky, right? It's a little bit thicker than worsted weight, middle weight.
They're looking for even bigger yarn than most of the yarn world has.
Not even this, like thicker than this.
That's jumbo. That's like 3 strands of super bulky held together, and it's not even thick enough
for what they're looking
for. What they're looking
Some
for.
of you might be going, I know of what you speak, because I did a post on Facebook about this, and a lot of people were like, yes.
So a thing started several years ago where you took roving, pre-yarn.
But
like
people went, ooh, it's yarn. It's not.
this is a braid of roving. So the roving is actually this thick here. You took roving and you laid it on the table and you made loops. You can do cables. You can do all kinds of fun stuff.
The one that was making the rounds, it was just someone on the table doing this.
Pulling loops. Takes like an hour to make a big blanket.
And there's another version that Laura DIY on YouTube, who's very popular. She was watching a video where someone was doing the actual arm
knitting
where it goes up your arm and it moves to this arm, and it kind of almost has the same effect as this table knitting one. But that was the one that the first year I opened, people were already asking about.
So the problem with that one, before we go to the newer one.
Oh, the newer one, which is when people say chunky. There's another thing going on with that.
So when you take roving pre-yarn, because you would spin this up to make yarn, whether, it's this thick. If you look at this poor braid has been sitting in the shop for a while. It's kind of sad looking.
Right? And that is close to, the braid is close to what we would call pencil roving, which is kind of what they use.
Pencil roving is smaller.
I know, that's why I said close to. Did you hear me say that? I said that. But it's still, it's thicker.
Yeah.
But, pencil roving is not quite thick enough for these blankets, but it's as close as, the people making these blankets, it's a big bolt of this stuff. Because the Laura DIY show has an Amazon link. You can find the bolt that she used.
You can, like, one of my girlfriends actually made one of the roving blankets.
Mm-hmm.
She made a full-size bed roving blanket.
Oh my.
It took 12 pounds of roving.
And just for perspective, this is 14.12 ounces. And how many ounces in a pound? It's like 8?
16 ounces.
16. I'm glad she knows, because and she claims she doesn't math, but she knows numbers for things. So this isn't even a pound.
This braid right here is 4 ounces. It costs $20. So $5-ish an ounce times 12 pounds.
Yeah.
Depending on how big. Then you have the problem of it's going to pill, it's going to fall apart. If you have a child, a dog, anything that gets in there, it could be ugly.
Yeah. You all have seen Liz spinning on camera a couple of times and talking about spinning. And the Woolery made this really great video. That's what I shared on Facebook. And I'll put the link in the description. And it talks about roving versus yarn. Like yarn has been spun, even if it's loose, has been spun to have more integrity, more structural integrity. This stuff is, I'm not going to pull on it too much because someone still might want to buy this, even though it's seen better days. It's Spunky Sheeps. We love her. Shout out.
We love Spunky Sheep.
Hi, Julia. We love you. But it's, it pulls apart. Really, this way, not as much as this way will it pull apart, but it will pull apart.
The threads are like anywhere from 4 to 6 inches long.
Yeah.
But they're all gently laid over the top of each other. So if you pull, they're going to separate. They're not twisted together yet.
And a blanket is it's gonna be heavy enough when you make one of these. It's great that you can make it without tools. That's fantastic. It's like, ooh, I could do this in a day or less or an hour or whatever. But the weight of it just in making it is going to pull on itself, and it's going to want to tear apart. I have knitters who, the striped sweater I have, it's softly spun. So it pills like nobody's business. I love it. That's what makes it soft, but I got to glean it a lot. And I have knitters, I tell them it's going to pill a little bit. Most yarn's going to pill at some level, no matter what. If you don't have you have a yarn that doesn't pill, it's probably an uncomfortable yarn. Well,
I've told people, if you're going to use roving, it's a great idea, but pounds worth is going to cost a fortune. If you're going to do that, it's going to take time to get it done right, because you're going to want to felt it down a little bit to where you get at least the outside stuck together.
Liz talks about this, people's eyes glaze over because
they do.
It's a lot of work.
They're like, what? And I'm like, you're going to take all your roving, you're going to put it in your bathtub, you're going to agitate everything with a little soap and hot water, and then you're going to rinse it out, and then you're going to hang it in the trees or wherever you can to where it looks like party streamers, because that's how much you're going to need. And then you can make your blanket after it's dried. And they go,
and they're usually people who are not part of the yarn world, so they're just like, huh? Because if you just did it with this, I mean, yeah, it would. The Woolery's got a great video. We'll post it of what happens with wear and tear and just life, but it looks cool. And someone on Knit Night even said, I think that's from like 5 Minute Crafts or something, which is one of those hip channels that does these little like sped up, like, isn't this cool? And half the stuff on it. Still have a headache today, guys. Half the stuff on it is stuff that you can't actually do anyway. Like, you might be able to replicate it somewhat. Like I think it's Ann Reardon. I want to say How to Cook That. The woman who does How to Cook That. She tackles the food side of the 5 Minute Crafts and the other channels, and how they're like, look, just cut off the top and put it in the microwave, and then you've got a cake. And it's like, you can tell they take the thing they take out is not the thing they put in. And let's try it. It doesn't work. So people see this
sticking grilled cheese in your toaster.
It's clickbait. And
fun to watch.
Yeah.
Not necessarily easy to do.
But so people see this video and they call us up and they say, I want to make that big blanket. And we say, we don't have the yarn for that. And they, but you're a yarn shop.
Well,
this is a thing on the internet, therefore you must have it. And we're not a magic box.
The new one is taking yarn.
That's the new one. So, and this, okay, first of all, before we get to the new one, I'm jumping ahead. A little off because I have ideas of what I want to do, and she has ideas of what she wants to do. And
I just listen.
No, you don't. You talk it all this whole time. No, I wanted to point out, just even as we get into some of this, I mean, we'll bounce back to this. Like, This is the biggest stuff we have in the shop. It's discontinued, so we don't have much of it. And it going on the expensive thing, because this is before we switch to the new version that's out there that I'm just starting to understand the lingo from people asking about it. Because I'm not up on the craziness that's out there on what's happening. And again, people are surprised that I'm not, because I run a yarn shop, so I should be. But this is Mondo from Cascade Yarns. It's alpaca and wool 50-50. It's still not thick enough for that first video.
I
have
did a
different
scarf.
plans.
I did a shawl out of 2 of them.
I did a scarf somewhere out of 1 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On size 50 needles.
That's
they
what
look
it recommends.
like vampire steaks.
Mm-hmm. But those are still thinner than people's hands.
Yeah.
Like it would, any hand and arm knitting, unless you've got Mondo stuff that you've got to buy in bulk quantities online, it's going to be open. And you'll see that in the videos of what these big blankets that people are calling us about. Like this is not going to be a tight weave or tight knit because hands are bigger than our vampire steaks, right?
You'd have to double or triple strand that.
Mm-hmm.
And
but the people who are doing these and the people who want to do these don't want to do that.
Well, the cost is almost prohibitive.
This is 58 yards of yarn. That's it for 400 grams. It's the equivalent of 4 average size skeins in our shop.
Yeah. And how many yards?
58 yards. That's not a lot. When I first got this, see, they've seen better days. they're like little jellyfish, not big jellyfish. And meat, yeah, and all those. When I first got this from the Cascade rep years ago, it was 3 of these could make a little lap blanket, maybe, and that would be like maybe 3 feet by 3 feet, like a little, like you could just cover your lap. $54 a skein. So we're talking $150 for a little napkin thing on your lap, right? It would be wonderful and cozy, but $150 at least, more like, 160, 70. Wonderful because alpaca and wool, and the people calling, they don't want alpaca and wool. They want something inexpensive and quick. And that can kind of lead us. I have some other yarns here, but they still don't fit, I'll circle back to it because Liz was starting to, again, no show notes. We're bouncing all over the place. Liz was starting to hint at the trend now. And I discovered this when I went to go look up the Woolery's video a few days ago, because this is bugging me. Because people were saying, hey, do you have that 8-ounce yarn? Or not even that. They're like, I'm looking for 8-ounce chunky yarn. My daughter makes blankets. And if that person is watching, shout out to you. I tried to explain. And again, this comes back to when people who aren't part of the yarn world see this stuff and want to engage with us. And we would love for them to be part of the yarn world, but we're not using the same vocabulary. And it's off-putting to the people who aren't part of the yarn world. And I apologize. And because that's not the intention, to be like, what? Or talk about something else. And they're like, that's not what I'm talking about. Because again, it's like we're speaking different languages.
When you say chunky, we're thinking number 5.
I tell them about this, and they're like, no,
we want chunky.
Because
super jumbo. It's
super jumbo stuff. It turns out what the fad is right now, and I'm gonna call it a fad and not a trend, because I kind of hope it's a fad. It's chenille. And I don't even have anything in the shop to show you what chenille is, because I'm not a fan. So we don't carry it. I tell people there's 2 yarns I may never carry in the shop. And you can call me a snob, that's fine. But I want to stand behind the quality of the products that I carry, even if they're cost effective. I want them to be quality. And the 2 yarns that I won't stand behind are chenille and boucle, for different reasons. But chenille, it's that synthetic, and yes, we carry synthetic yarns here. This is a wonderful, fun synthetic yarn, but it's got a little more integrity, and I'll stand behind it rather than chenille. Chenille, this has like that base with just stuff off of one end. And there's a lot of yarn companies from mass producing to a little higher quality ones that make this kind of stuff. Faux fur, it's awesome. Chenille, it's just kind of all over stumpy, fuzzy, puffy stuff. And if it can feel wonderful too. Um, it's much more even inexpensive than this in terms of quality and price. Um, it's kind of a bear to work with. I've seen so many things on Knit and Chat when you're actually knitting with it that will say, why is it doing this? And it has little spots where the yarn just kind of slubs or does an extra, like the tension doesn't hold. And or like where you're pulling it straight, but it's twisting or it's doing funky things. It's funky, and I'm not a fan. And people will be like, but it makes such soft, awesome baby blankets. And I'm like, yeah, but like you wash that twice and it's a ratty mess.
The other thing is,
so I'm just not a fan.
Most of the big box stores carry it.
Yeah, well,
like,
and the thing that to get back to the squirrel, to get back to the trend, that again Liz is trying to talk about, and I cut her off before, is half the videos that come up now are talking about the jumbo hand knit baby blankets, or not baby, just blankets. They're made with jumbo, like with, it's called chunky chenille. It's by Mainstays. It's a Walmart exclusive, basically. So they're calling me to look for something that is a Walmart brand yarn, thinking
and you can
I might
only have it
yeah,
at Walmart.
I don't think even if I wanted to, I could carry it here. Plus, Walmart has it. If they're out of it, they come to me looking for it, thinking, well, Walmart is out, so you're a yarn shop. But again, it Mainstays is a brand. You'll even see that logo on like kitchen supplies and other things.
Is Walmart's.
Yeah,
it's like Sam's Club has their own.
Yeah, Ingles, if you're local to this area, has Laura Lynn.
Yeah,
you know, it's not
everybody
something
has their store brand.
Carry. But the Walmart yarn, and these videos will have the link to Walmart. And one of the videos I was watching was like, Walmart doesn't have it online. It's a couple years old, the video. They have it online now. But that was the research I did, and I found out, oh, they call it like mega chunky chenille or something. So that's where the language of chunky is coming from, because they hear chunky from these videos and they think super thick. And most yarn stores, when they hear chunky, they think just above middleweight. But it's probably about this thickness, but it's chenille, and they're like, oh, it's amazing, it's awesome, and it comes in 8 ounces. And so now
I know where the 8 ounce.
I know where that language. So now if someone emails me, I can address it properly. Like the first couple people this year who emailed me about this, I was just like, what?
Or called, and it's like, do you have chunky yarn? Yeah, we have chunky yarn. Okay, I need this chunky yarn to make one of those blankets.
And we go,
oh no, we got to back up.
We got to restart the conversation. Yeah. So now when I hear someone call or email about chunky, if they call, I'm like, are you talking about that big blankets? Because let's have a conversation. And again, it may sound dismissive and it's not meant to be, but we want everyone to be clear before they come by. We don't have that. And I've seen the blankets, and they're knotting the chenille, and they're hand knitting, and they're like, this is held up great. And I'm like, you're lucky then, because I have had many of an experience with chenille where it doesn't hold up great. There's no give to it. So if you actually use knitting needles with it, it can be cumbersome and stressful. It doesn't split though. That's the good thing. Don't use this yarn, it splits, is one of our jokes. Like this, you can stick the needle through and it'll split. But we're not even talking about that right now. Just the hand knitting, you know. I think, and they're like, you can make this blanket for under $20. Yay! And again, you get what you pay for. So that's awesome for a thick, quick blanket. Amazing, fantastic. That's our mail lady. She's saying Merry Christmas. By the way, Merry Christmas Eve.
Merry Christmas.
I think I meant to say that when we started. Life. Oh my gosh. Because I had a bee in my bonnet I wanted to talk about. So no, but it's one of those, we can't compete with Walmart prices on something like that, and Walmart already carries it. So if you want to engage in that, be forewarned, it could be a hot mess, especially if you're doing more than one skein, which again, knots will make it not a comfortable blanket, but it'll only be in a couple places. And it'll be loose and open, and give it a shot, but know that you're going to get what you pay for.
And there are complications, like, because it's one of those not fast knit projects, but it's one of those craft projects on Pinterest or
Everyone,
Etsy or
there's like
not Etsy,
16
but,
million people who have their own version of it, and
Yeah.
all of them have 1 million views.
but they're either like with the roving, they're leaving out steps that are important to the integrity of the blanket for future use.
Yeah.
And
the chenille may or may not hold up, and the knots could come untied because it's a slippery, no give to it yarn. Knotting it and cutting the knots real close could come undone. There's like, I could go on.
In a perfect world where you lay it on a bed and nobody touches the bed, and it could hold up beautifully.
Or one of the ladies who made this video was like, I've had this and I like for years, and I throw it around my shoulders, and it's like, I don't think it actually gets much wear and tear. It's just she wears it around the house, thrown around her shoulders.
Yeah.
And that's great, you know.
But if, like I said, if pets, kids, any life, like you have gorgeous sweaters that Avi has helped
his tongue is
too.
stuck on. And
Yeah,
oh my gosh. Yeah. Even the nice stuff.
Life happens. And so, you know.
Like, and I tell people, if you want to do something like that, we can show you what we have in the shop that it would be close, but it's not going to cost $20. If you want to make a quick and fast and easy blanket for $20, give that a shot. The time and energy that goes into it might end up being more than $20, and it might be fantastic, but we want people to go into it knowing what could happen. So, you know, and I love my tools and stuff. And the post I put on Facebook, I'm like, if you want to learn how to knit with the tools or crochet with the tools, we got the videos for it. We got everything you need. But knitting really is pulling loops through loops, like on these videos.
Sticks and string.
Yep. So it's possible to do it with your hands, and it's possible to do it keeping the loops on your arms. Like, your arms are big knitting needles. That used to be the fad and the trend. Back when I was minion status at another shop, what the arm knitting thing was awesome for like a big cowl, but it's not going to look like this. It's going to look more like a hammock worn around your neck, which could be really cool because sometimes that's in.
Well,
right?
And the downside to arm knitting is you're stuck holding all those loops until you're done.
The Laura DIY video that I found that I may or may not link because it was really cool. And I like her because I like to try guys. But then she started talking about channeling her inner like old lady, and I was like, oh, you lost me. Because knitting is not just for old people. It's for young people. It's for everybody. And it's not for old people. It's for people of all ages. And to call people old rubs people the wrong way. Anyway, so, you know, because I have some knitters out there who are like, watch what you say. Because we have people of all ages who do this, but
since you've opened the shop, our age range has been pretty consistent, teenage through
way past retirement,
80s and 90s.
Yes,
like,
and everywhere in between. We've had college age, we've had 20s and 30s, we've had our age, you know, up. So people of all ages do it. It almost makes me want to do a sample over break to see what an arm knitting thing, just like a cowl or something, is kind of like. But it also brings me full circle to, well, before I come full circle, it's unfortunate that the first encounter we have with people, it's great that these videos are enticing people into the yarn world. They're like, oh, that's cool. It's unfortunate that the first encounter with people who want to engage with yarn is some of the supplies in these videos. And because they're like, ooh, I can do this for $20. That's awesome. And they call us and we're like, no, it's going to cost you. And we start going through, depending on what you want to make it out of, what it could be, the eyes glaze over, you know. Or if their first encounter with it is this stuff from Walmart, and if they don't have good success with it, they may be turned off from the yarn world, which we'd love to introduce them the right way. It doesn't have to be expensive to enjoy yarning, as I say, knitting and crocheting and using your hands, that kind of thing. But the inexpensive route sometimes can lead to failure and not engaging with the craft anymore. And that's too bad because it's awesome. People who try to learn, they say, I tried to learn to knit and it was disastrous. And then I teach them and it could be my abilities, but I think it's more the tools sometimes,
Well,
because
aluminum needles.
that's what I was about to say. See, she
from
knows where I'm
Walmart,
going.
which is what I started knitting on at the shop.
Me too. When I first started to knit, it was aluminum needles from Walmart.
I crocheted. And one day I was like,
I don't remember this. This is funny.
One day I was like, I think I'm going to learn to knit today. And so I bring in my aluminum needles that I had
and I was probably
from Walmart. And Rebecca's like, okay. I'm like, just
show
me. It'll be fine.
Shop.
Just show me how to cast on, because I already have the needles. Why do I need to buy another set of needles?
And I'll always be for a class. If you have your own supplies, bring them.
Yeah.
But we might have stuff that'll make it.
So I'm like, okay, Rebecca, show me how to cast on. And she goes, okay, do your arm pull, and got me all set up for long tail cast on. And she goes, no, do this and that, and then start. And so I start, and like I got casting on, and because I continental knit, which is just like crochet, I kind of started going, and all my loops would fall off the needle because aluminum needles are crazy.
They're really slippery.
So I started a billion times, and I came back in the next day because I was living here, I wasn't working here, and I was like, I need needles.
And I don't remember if I was like, here, try these, but that's what I would have said to anyone is, here, try these wooden ones.
I was like, I need needles, like, and you were like, uh-huh. I was like, no, I got this, and no, aluminum needles.
That's like me saying when I learned to crochet, I got this because I'm a knitter. And if my sister can crochet, I can crochet. I learned the hard way.
Knit, just the tools were.
So, yeah, I mean, there's tools that help facilitate it going better and having more success. And then being like, I love this. I want to do it all the time. Sometimes that can be as the line between this is amazing, this is the rest of my life, and this sucks, I never want to do it again, can be the tools you use. I mean, I'm sure there's people out there in a lot of other professions that would agree, that would go, oh, I never thought about that for knitting. But absolutely, when I'm doing, woodworking, or when I'm working on the car.
When I'm cooking, I use top end pots and pans. But for knitting, I'm going to go run to Walmart because, I don't want to spend that much on my craft. My needle broke.
I'm never knitting again. Yeah. Well, what did you buy?
Yeah.
We've got 2 pots at home for boiling water, and one is wonderful and maintains temperature, and the other one boils over no matter what. And that could turn someone, absolutely. I would never cook again if I always made a mess on the stove.
Yeah.
But that wouldn't necessarily be my fault. So watching the pot, sure, but there's anyway. So yeah. Anyway, so I wanted to go through, if you want to do the big, thick and quick, potentially doing some arm knitting, but again, arm, and when I say hand knit, because hand knit can mean I knit it by hand with my needles, but literally hand knitting, like pulling your fist through the loops, which is what this very first video we were talking about is doing. It's laying out loops on the table and then gently pulling through and then pulling through and then pulling, and it looks so cool. People make stuff look real easy, right? The closest we're gonna have is stuff like this, and it's gonna be not as thick, so you're gonna see through it no matter what. The Laura DIY one you could see through, but it still looked pretty cool. Again, this stuff we don't have much left of. I was like, this is amazing, it's gonna be our one jumbo yarn in the shop, and then Cascade stopped making it, so we have a little left.
They had a gorgeous red, and
that went first, and then the naturals went. The one I was showing y'all at the beginning, this stuff, this is the Yana XL. We have talked about it before. This is 2 different colors. We have talked about it before on the VSC. This stuff, I mean, doesn't that look just luscious? It's absolutely gorgeous. It's 200 grams. So it is weight-wise half the size. You can even tell by holding them side by side. This is like Medusa, right? And then this is half the size. This had 58 yards. This one's got 54 yards. So it's thinner. You can tell just by like half the weight, and the same yardage means this is thinner, but it's fluffy and lovey just like this is. And 2 skeins of it got me this. That's it. they're actually recommending a 17 needle with this. I think I did this on like a 35, which is the neck, like 17, 19, 35. I know if you're not
50.
a knitter, the numbers make no sense. Then 50. Names are weird and they have nothing to do with the actual millimeter size. So, but you'd need a bunch of these and to make a blanket, and it would be lovely. But if I can hold this up, you can see the fuzzy on that. That's just life and hanging in the shop. It's 100% fine Highland wool, so it's really soft, really like if you have thoughts of wool being scratchy and stuff,
not scratchy.
This is not that. This
roving
is,
gangs of sheep that went to private school on scholarship.
There you go. They're not officially merino, which is being able to afford private school, but it's so soft. This is so wonderful. But soft means it's not going to age well. Soft means it's going to get fuzzy, it's going to pill. It's, again, you could make a blanket and then a month later be like, I'm so sad because this is not what I made. It is, but it's aged. And the Yana XL, this is about $40 right here. And I would imagine you'd probably need at least 10 or more to make even a throw for your lap. Well, that's expensive.
One size down is the yarn you're about ready to hold up. And
she's reading my mind.
One of our knitters is making a blanket out of that. And how many did she need?
She needed like 11, I want to say. This is the most cost-effective option we have in the shop, but as you can see, it is not as thick as this stuff. This is by Plymouth. It's called Plymouth Bay. It's 80% premium acrylic, nice acrylic, 20% wool. It's essentially like a jumbo version of Encore in a way. It feels nicer than Encore though. It's got a thicker twist. Encore Mega is just a little thinner than this. It is 200 grams again, same weight, but this has 76 yards. So, and this has 50 something. So a little thinner. Much more cost effective though. This is $14.50. I'm listening to the wind.
The wind is,
and the rain outside. Wow. Anyway, we heard thump thump thump. That's people's furniture in the deck above us being blown around. We have it in lovely colors. One of these makes a super thick, quick, awesome cowl on needles. You could try some arm knitting with this, but it would be like see-through hammock type stuff, definitely. But this is the most affordable jumbo stuff we have in the shop. And if someone came to our shop saying, hey, I want the chunky stuff to make a blanket, and we showed them, and the stuff you can get at Walmart for 8 ounces, which is probably a little bit more weight-wise than this.
What's the...
This is 200 grams.
That's 7 ounces.
Yeah, 7 ounces. If we showed them this, they'd be like, no, that's not what I want. And the stuff at Walmart costs like $6 to $7. This is twice that. The quality will be better. It will function better, but it's not what they're looking for. So I'm actually fascinated to see maybe what would happen if I held this single or double stranded. I'd have to like sacrifice a few of these skeins to do it. And tried to hand knit. Like that could be an experiment over break. Who knows? But we're just cautioning people. These fads are awesome. Engage at your own risk. And the materials, especially if you're, and some of these people might not be actually watching the videos, but just saying, oh, they use, chunky stuff. The materials, you get what you pay for is my final kind of thought on that, right? Mm-hmm. So you can go with the luxurious stuff, or the more cost-effective. That's the nice way I like to put it in our shop, but it's still not going to be Walmart prices. We just can't do that, and I won't stand behind a product that I don't think will hold up. I mean, some of the stuff in the shop is going to fall apart too, or not necessarily hold up to everything. We've had one yarn that said it was machine washable that someone came back later and said, I washed it and it felted. And I went, we did the best we could. But we're going to try to steer you in the best direction we can. So It's almost time for us to open the shop in our very dreary weather today for Merry Christmas, Happy Christmas Eve. We hope you have great holidays and stuff. Ooh, gonna scroll for a second. I said there were 2 yarns I probably will not carry in the shop. The other one has nothing to do with these big blankets. It's boucle. So chenille and boucle, they all sound so fancy, don't they? Ooh, hey. What are you looking at me for?
I'm trying to remember which one reminds me of Berber carpets. It's probably the boucle.
Yeah. Boucle is the easiest way to, it's Noro has just put out a boucle type yarn like last year, and people were calling and asking for it. Ooh, do you have it? And I'm like, nope. I love Noro, and there's some other yarn. Noro has so many lines of yarn. We can't carry them all. There's not enough room in the shop.
Noro knows that people don't like boucle, so they call it textured.
Yeah, I was about to say that. Yeah. They call it textured yarn. Lion Brand Homespun is, I think it's called Homespun, is one of the boucles that I used to work with a lot back when I shopped at Joann's and had not been introduced to local yarn stores and did not have my own shop, definitely. It was fun because it hid my stitches, so if I made mistakes, you couldn't see. But it was kind of annoying to work with. It's like it's got a core to it, and then the yarn kind of wibbles and wobbles out of it and kind of lumpies. And sometimes it's really cool. We had some hand-dyed boucle in here that from a local artist, but it was a much finer, wispier. It was cool looking. It was textured.
The thick, the homespun, the Lion Brand. I've played with that, and if you don't snag it right, you're gonna get just the string instead of the core. I mean,
yeah, like, it's if you want to talk about splitty yarn,
and heaven help you if you have to rip it out.
Oh yeah,
like the devil's yarn.
It's like barbs without barbs, and it's and things can happen with it which are not fun. And while it's textured, there's a lot of like not art yarn, because we have some of that like core spun funky stuff. Novelty yarn. We only have a handful of novelty yarns in the shop, and while that could be cool, they're just what the name implies. Novelty yarns tend to be very fad related, somewhat trend. I consider a trend something that picks up and is new but continues, and a fad is something that's like, whoa, that's so cool. Oh, that's so 5 minutes ago.
Well, like our faux fur is kind of a trendy fad. Like
it kind of
comes and goes. It's great to play with and make fast cowls, and it's so super soft, and it's, you know, not real fur, even though I want real fur, but I can't knit with real fur. Anyway, long story.
No animals were harmed in the making of this video.
Yeah. So it's fun, but like its cousin, proper eyelash yarn, where you can have an eyelash that's an inch to 2
Lion Brand
inches
has
long.
one called Fun Fur.
Yeah.
Not faux fur, Fun Fur. Oh my gosh. Yeah. And there's some stuff with sequins in it. I'm sorry.
Oh no, it's that was fad. Like the eyelash, it was like, and throw it into everything, and then felt
I have stuff at home I threw into everything.
And no.
And then what a lot of local yarn stores go through is people like, ooh, I have to have this. And you stock up on it. And then it's so 5 minutes ago, and you have it on your shelves, and you're like, what am I supposed to do with this now? Or you hang on to it for the one person a year who asks for it.
We got ribbon yarn when you first opened.
Yes.
And it was
because
cool.
People wanted ribbon yarn, but not that ribbon yarn. They wanted the other ribbon yarn. Or, yeah, it was cool, but it didn't really sell. It had glitter in it. Sparkles. It was cool. I have some over there, the palettes. It's got sequins. I was like, you can hold it with stuff and add sequins to your knitting. But it's difficult to work with. So we still have a lot of it on our shelves. So the theory was sound, but it didn't really, Anyway, so we hope if you're in our area or any other areas impacted by the storm, because I think the storm is actually stretching across the entire continental U.S.
It is sucking up out of the Gulf and just going all the way up with thunderstorms. I think there's tornado watches and warnings.
I think New England
horribleness.
I think by the time it hits New England tomorrow, if it doesn't hit it today, like they're expecting power outages. I really hope we don't have any.
Yeah.
So everyone stay safe, and we love you. And think twice about making a chunky blanket with just your hands, or go into it knowing it could be good or bad. Be prepared. We hope you all have a wonderful holiday and holidays. Like Merry Christmas for those of you who celebrate tomorrow. Yay! We've mentioned multiple times this week, but I'm going to say it one more time, that we are taking a break. The countdown is on. We are here from 10 to 5 today. I'll try to get this video up really fast. And then we're taking the first break since the world fell apart. I'm going to try not to like panic and have anxiety attacks and actually rest. We were going to talk about what we were going to do over break if we ran out of things to talk about, but then we vented on these blankets for a while. What are you What are you gonna do on break, Liz?
Well, I'm gonna sleep in.
I gotta sleep too.
Sleep is awesome.
I'm not always good at sleeping in, but I'm gonna find times if I get tired during the day, I'm gonna sleep.
And yesterday I had an apostrophe as I was getting ready to leave work.
Apostrophe? Yes.
Lightning had touched my brain.
Yes.
It's from the movie Hook, if anybody ever wonders. But anyway,
it's ours now. So what are you gonna do?
I'm gonna work on my papillons. Like,
oh, it's not gonna be a surprise anymore. You just told everybody.
Well, you know, it'll be a surprise as to which ones I get how far.
Expectations. Yeah, I know. I wanna see if I can get some new sweaters done so I can start showcasing them as you know, when we come back in the new year. On the 5th, that is the sad news, is the next time you see a video from us, most likely will be like this. Is going to be the 5th. You should subscribe just in case we decide to go crazy and do something over break.
We might get bored.
We might get bored. We won't come in here and do this, but we might get bored. But if you're subscribed, you'll get an alert.
It won't be a...
I may or may not put it on Facebook. I'll probably put it on Facebook. But I might not put it on Facebook. Who knows? That's what a break's all about. You change things up.
And we do want to let everybody know that starting tomorrow...
We mentioned this yesterday. Refresher.
Tomorrow, we are doing a sale. Online only. Woot woot. It is good until January 4th, the day before we come back in the shop.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember what it is?
It's 20% off. It
is
what it is? Goodbye 2020.
Goodbye 2020. No spaces.
I'd say
matter,
order early and order often, but
yes. We won't be available for pickup or mailing. So order your hearts out at 20% off the 25th of December through the 4th of January, but know that we will not be sending things immediately out because the whole point of a break is to rest.
And keep in mind, if you decide to wait until closer to the day we're in,
because why order?
Somebody could have been like, ooh, there's only 2 left and I'm going to snag them early.
Yeah. And I don't think putting it in your cart secures it for you. You got to actually buy it.
Yeah. So, you know.
Yes. Part of my job today is going to be changing all the signs and the recordings and I'm not sure if I can mark on the hours online on like Google and stuff. They have like special hours for holidays, but I don't think they'll let me say I'm closed for a certain amount of time. I have to figure that out. But yeah, we're going to try to actually take a break. And that means, I'm sorry, but your packages won't go out until the first full week of January. But they will. That might give the post office a chance to recover from Christmas anyway. So yeah.
We might actually figure out how to use the shop packing scale.
Oh, I'm totally going to use that. Yeah. I'm New Year's. Yeah. I'm playing with this. So yeah, we should go because there's so much to do to put the shop to bed for a week and a half.
10 o'clock.
It is 10 o'clock. So if the phone rings, technically we have to answer it. And countdown. Baby steps till 5 o'clock, right?
Okay, so for local people who see this before 5, because we'll probably get it up before 5 since
I'm gonna make it not super high quality so it'll upload fast.
Anyway, for people local that see this, we are not putting the tent out today because it is pouring rain and the winds are gusting big.
Nasty.
You could order and shop pickup. Mm-hmm. I will even trudge out to your car.
Yes. Either one of us will run it out to your car so you don't have to get wet. Shout out to Sarah Beth because I think she's going to do that later. Yeah, or you can come and you'll be taking your chances. We're going to treat it like the storm day where appointment is preferred to come in, sign up ahead of time. Since we can't put the tent up, if there's no one in here, we may let you in with a mask for selective shopping, but it's going to be quick because the shop's a mess. And
We'll probably do like 15-20 minutes today.
Yeah, tops. And if you show up and there's someone in the shop, we'll ask you to come back. But I don't necessarily see a whole lot of people coming out today, which is okay because we got work to do. So anyway, we'd love to see you if you're local.
Holes. 1, 2, 3.
We're sorry that there will be no sit and stitch for until the 5th of January, and there will be no formal shows like this. But because I feel like we've really been, both to us and to you, it's kind of been a lifeline to do this during the pandemic, but we need a break. Oh my gosh. So go back and watch old shows and like see the progression of my hair growing out and like us sitting further apart from each other. Relive the pandemic through spending time with us on YouTube. Anyway, so
relive the pandemic
because that's what we want to do is relive it, right? Because we're still in it. So anyway, yeah.
See where the holes have moved, like
because that's what's really important, Liz, is what happened to the wall behind us. Actually, for some people it is. So,
I was gonna say, like, for real.
I'm gonna stop the episode now. We do love you, and we hope you have a wonderful week and a half or so, and we will see you on the other side.
Enjoy friends and family through Zoom and FaceTime, and
yes, Zoom with other people.
Yeah,
and you can email us. If you email me, Rebecca@sundragonartandfiber.com, I'll respond when I get a chance. It may not be right away, but I'll try to get to emails. We're not going to check the phone for a week and a half. So, and that's part of the message I need to leave on there. So if you leave a message trying to reach us, that's not something I can check remotely from home.
If you have a yarn emergency, we're sorry. We need vacation.
Yeah, we need a break. It's a staycation. We're not going anywhere.
I will throw this out there. For $2,000 worth of shopping, I will come and open the store.
The stakes are high. If you really want to shop, get your list together. And
pre-pandemic, it was like $500.
Yeah,
it's pandemic and we're on vacation, so $2,000. I think Rebecca will let me come in and open the shop.
I think I'd be willing to do that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Might even take stuff to the post office. Okay.
Okay.
We love you.
Love you. Bye.
Mwah.